Welcome guys, it's Sheepai with a new video about the core of a Buster Bladed Dragunity deck. As mentioned in the last deck profile, because of the side format, I've come to the idea of showing you what the core of the deck is and like how to build your own version of it. And also I'm gonna show you how to play with the deck, like some neat little tips. Of course, there are so many things, you cannot put all of them into one video, but I think after this video, you should have the basic understanding of how to play the deck, how to build the deck, what are decisions to make, and what you can do with it. So I'm just trying to show you all of the neat little things, and if you're staying around for the whole video, just leave a comment or anything. I'm just happy to see people being interested into Buster Bladed Dragunity. And with that being said, let's go into the core of the deck. Okay. First, we're getting into the Buster Blader portion. Keep in mind, core means the minimum of the deck. So we can also play a larger package, and this is just the bare minimum you cannot cut, okay? So at first we're having 5 Buster Blader cards, 1 Destruction Sword Master, 1 Whelp, 1 Dragon Buster, 1 Prologue, and 1 Memories. You only need 1 of each, meaning if you only play 1 of each, your consistency and maybe vulnerability to hand traps gets increased. So keep that in mind, but for the simple combo, you just need 1 of each. You will always search him, you will always dump him, you will always search it with him, and you will always send these 2. Meaning, if you draw 1 of both, your combo gets changed. Your combo isn't dead, but your combo will end up different. But it's possible. I will show you a combo with 1 Buster Blader in deck and 1 with 2 in deck. You can run 1, I've did it for a long time, still testing it because it gives you a slot in the deck, and I think the space in the deck is pretty tight. So you can try it, but just changing your combo paths sometimes makes it harder. Also, increasing the number of prologues means you should increase the number of Buster Bladers, just so the ratios fit, because you don't want to draw Buster Blader and Prologue, because then you have like 1.5 dead cards in hand. He's not particularly dead, depends on your hand. So this is the minimum package. For our Dragunity starters, we need triple Remus, 1 Tempest, depends on if he's a starter or not, 1 Gold Sarcophagus, 1 Terraforming, and triple Ravine. So, in total, 9 starters. I like to play more. I don't count Small World as a core card. You can play it, and I love to play it, but it's not considered a core card for me. You could also play Prosperity and dig for 3 because you don't have that much expert deck cards to give up. But it's possible, I always consider it. But you absolutely need these 9 cards. He's a starter depending on how many wind monsters you play in the deck, because like, why would you discard him in Remus if Remus is the best starter in the deck? So, depends on the cards, but always nice to run Drone Lockbird in the deck. Like, the possibility of a hand trap turning into a starter with Tempest it's pretty cool. So consider it. Only like worst case scenario that can happen is like drawing these 2, depending on whether he's live or not. Drawing Gold Sarcophagus and Tempest sucks, but then he's just discard fodder if Tempest is live. So you need them because Dragon Ravine leads into Remus, leads into Dragon Ravine and the basic combo. Just as a -1, drawing Remus is the same combo without a -1, and always love to see it. Opening Remus, opening 2 of them is insane, like opening Remus, Terraforming, Remus, Tempest, Remus, Dragon Ravine, and all that stuff, because your opponent will have disruptions, but it's so useful playing through all of that. So that being said, these are your starters. Now for the combo pieces, we're playing one Baby Rock, one Sephiroth, one Red MD, Legatus, Mistletoe, and Claw. I always recommend running 2 Claw because of the follow-up, but for the bare minimum, you need 1. Okay, so these cards are always involved in the standard combos. No matter if you have 1 Buster Blader or 2, you will always need these cards. Sometimes there are little shortcuts, but they don't come up as often, so you need them. It's fine drawing either of these cards or none. That's what I love about the deck, because your hand is always so flexible. Because you have 1 card combo that is not depending on anything. You don't have like total bricks. You can draw anything and play with anything, which is cool. And the only kind of sad part is that you have a kind of linear combo, but depends on how you build your deck. You will always have a way to at least end on like Seals Buster Lock or 1 Negate Buster Lock and all that stuff. So pretty cool, pretty flexible, and you need these pieces. And the combo, like the basic combo, is pretty easy. There are some scenarios where it can get a little harder depending on what you're doing, and those are your combo pieces. So this concludes the main deck core is 20 cards, meaning you have 20 spots left. It is possible to play a 1200 variant. I just don't like it that much. And you have a lot of room to just extend on the ratios, but you will figure out that it's pretty hard to fit like a lot of versatility cards in, because you just need the room for the things. Like if you're playing small world, you need your bridges, like Drone Lockbird, level 7 extender. You want to play more extender in the deck because you have things like Disarmer, you have this Trudeau and all that stuff. You want to play this, you want to play a second Claw, maybe a second Buster Blader. And there are many things you want to play, and you will figure it out that space in the deck is so tight. And do not play above 40 cards. Do not. Because you're a 1 card combo deck that needs this 1 piece. And if you're disrupted, you need pieces like maybe talents, but mostly Prologue in hand or the Buster Whelp already in hand, which makes your combo kind of trivial, just putting up the gates. So if this combo gets stopped, you can just play into the Buster Lock and all that stuff. So you need the space, but basically the core of the deck is 20 cards. And from there you can just do whatever you want and you will get good results. But depends on how good you are on deck building. It can differ. So for the extra deck, of course we need the 1 Buster Blader and 1 Buster Dragon. Then we need 1 Hot Red. We don't need the Chaos Ruler as a core card. I just love to play him. But you can also go Buster Dragon into Hot Red because Prolo can revive him from the graveyard. We need 1 Gaydog as our combo piece, also 1 Tomb. Then we need Arma Gram for scenarios where you only draw Buster Whelp as a starter and no 1 card starter for your Dragon Ravine plays. Because if you don't have a Link 1 for the Buster Whelp, your plays are dead. You cannot get a Dragon into the graveyard, which means just no Buster Lock. You have to wait for your opponent to remove the Whelp and then go into the Buster Lock. And I think Armor Rush is still the best because you're switching everything in defense position except Link monsters. So I think Linkuribo is kind of bad. You have Striker Dragon, which is kind of nice for some plays with Pisty, if you consider playing Pisty. But in general, Armor Rush gives you extra protection, and I would not cut him. He's the best Link 1 in that scenario. Then we're also playing 1 Protector Whelp, 1 Romulus for the Claw, and 1 Seals. This is your basic lineup, which means you have 6 extra deck slots left for flexibility, more negates, disruption in general, or just pure OTKs. Also, maybe running second Romulus for Glow. Because of the follow-up combos, you have to consider building the deck. You need follow-up. You need a lot of follow-up because it is possible to break the board. You will win a lot of games by just building the board because it's pretty rough to out, but it comes up and then you need a clean OTK or just having a disrupted combo in general, then you will need a follow-up. And Boros Sword, perfect for this. Also many other cards, but this is the core for the combo to get started. And you have 6 slots left. So pretty cool, pretty flexible extra deck. And now for the combos. So now it's basic combo time. Starting off with the simple 1-card combo where you either need Dragon Ravine or Remus. Doesn't matter which one, just having Remus is the same combo without the -1 at the beginning, so just skip the first step. We're starting off with Dragon Ravine, discarding a card, adding Remus, then use Remus, discarding himself, adding Dragon Ravine. And this is the first step, you can just skip right away. Then we're activating the new Dragon Ravine, easily possible to cycle through all 3. Discarding a card, adding a Dragunity monster, which is Legatus. Then we're going ahead and special summoning him. Also special summoning Remus from the graveyard because we control a Dragunity monster. Then we can do a synchro into Gaydog. We can use Gaydog effect, adding a winged beast or a dragon, and discarding one, adding Sephiroth, discarding him. Activate its effect. Bouncing back the Dragon Ravine, taking 400 damage. Don't forget to make the joke about the judge, calling time because you took 400 damage and you'll always be the funniest guy around if you do that. Then we're going to activate the Dragon Ravine. Discarding a card, doesn't matter how you do it, if you first link or first use Dragon Ravine. Just discarding a card, adding a Dragunity monster because we need it for discard later. Then we're going to link into Romulus. Romulus effect getting us a Dragunity spell trap, meaning Claw. We can just activate it, adding a level 5 or higher Dragunity monster from deck or grave, which is Mistletoe. Play Arma Gram in the deck because you will need him for follow-up and just extending. He's always nice to have, believe me. Then we're going to special summon Mistletoe by sending Romulus. Effect equip Gaydog. And use Glow in the graveyard to special summon Gaydog. Then we can use its effect again, adding a dragon or winged beast, which will be the Buster Whelp, and discarding a different one. That's why we added Remus, because we had none in hand. Then we're going to overlay into a tomb. Use a tomb's effect because he's LP and LP is busted as fuck. Special summoning Relay's Darkness Metal Dragon. And use its effect to special summon the Gaydog. Then we can use Gaydog's effect, adding one, discarding one, adding Baby Rock, discarding Baby Rock, and now its effect will trigger to special summon itself. And for now we can just go into Synchro, summoning the Buster Dragon, and norm summon Buster Whelp to add a Destruction Sword spell trap, which will be Prologue because it will special summon back the Buster Dragon and special summon the Buster Blader by sending the fusion. And we can also just use a Synchro 9 to go into Red Dragon Archfiend because he will be our Dark Ruler no more and Droplet Negate. And we can also just make a link 2 into Protector Whelp. At this point, if you have an extender, you can also go into Sears, but we have none. This is why I also like to play Chaos Ruler, because if you don't have Tempest or Arma Gram access, you can just special summon back the Chaos Ruler and go into Sears, which means you have one more disruption, but for now we just play without the Chaos Ruler. And then we're going to set Prologue during our opponent's turn. preferably trophies. Oh, and I forgot to send the Buster Dragon with the Protector Whelp on summon, sorry. It's just a foolish. And in our opponent's trophies we will activate Prologue and send for cost the Buster Blader and memories. Ask our opponent for a response. If he does not have one, we just respond with memories. And banish the Buster Blader. I like to banish the Tomb. Doesn't matter that much what you banish, but just Tomb is a safe pick. You're banishing them, resolving the chain, resulting in Buster Blader because of memories, and summoning the Buster Dragon back. And on summon you can use Buster Dragon effect to equip the Buster Blader with the Dragon Buster, preferably here because of Magnites and stuff. And now you have better skill train, an Omni negate on field, which can negate Dark Ruler no more and drop it just by banishing Prologue from the grave to protect your destruction slot cards by battle or card effects, which means he cannot be Twin Twisted, even though nobody plays that shit, but you know what I mean. And with that, that's the basic combo. You end on a pretty strong board just by using one card and like 2 or 3 cards that are not usable. If you draw any of the combo pieces, it will get easier, but just thinking about not having any other combo pieces, and you have a pretty strong board that can win games on its own. So that's the basic combo, and now we get into some tips. For the first tip, not depending on if you play 1 or 2 Buster Bladers, just change up your combo a little. But what happens if we draw one of the Buster Blader and we're just in our combo at this state, so we already added the Buster Whelp, but we have not used the Dragon Ravine, or we just discarded him at the beginning. I'm just having him in the hand, just for a better explanation. During the course of our combo, you will discard him, and if you're only playing 1 Buster Blader, it means your Prologue is dead. You cannot use Prologue, that's the thing. But you just discarded him to either add Remus, send another dragon from the deck, which can always be Tempest, and having Tempest is insane. So think about it like you just discarded him for your combo, like one of the tactics in the previous combo. So what are we going to do? We're going to use Gedok, adding the Baby Rock, discarding the Baby Rock, special summon it, and we can go into our synchro, meaning we're summoning the Buster Dragon. Because Buster Dragon has the nice effect during your turn of special summoning a Buster Blader monster from the graveyard if you do not control one. Important to mention, if you control the fusion, you cannot use this effect, but we're not controlling the fusion. But at first we can just now summon the Buster Whelp, add the Dragon Buster to our hand because we will need the Protector Whelp for something else. And for now we just link into the Protector Whelp. And we can send memories into the graveyard, so now our fusion is live. Now we can use Buster Dragon effect, special summoning the Buster Blader, equip it with the Dragon Buster, and use the Dragon Buster effect to special summon itself. And at this point we can just go into another Synchro 8, which could be Borrowed Savage. I always play him, something else. Just you can go into something, that's important. And then you can either go into Hot Red Abyss with the other Synchro 8, if you play one, like just Savage, and equip with something from the graveyard. Or you can just go into Hot Red as mentioned. But for now we're gonna go into Seals, because Seals is insane. And during our opponent's turn in the draw phase, we can use memories, banish the Materials, go into the Buster Blader fusion, and use Buster Dragon effect to equip him. And we're set. Like, basically the same end board, and it does not matter if you try to Buster Blade him. Just changes up some things, but it's not that important. So basically the basic combo and nothing special. As mentioned in the core, those are the 6 combo pieces you need. And as said, drawing any of them is just useful and not a bad thing. So let's just go through each of them and I will tell you why it's not bad drawing them. He's obvious because he's a free add. Now you can add the Buster Whelp and discard the Baby Rock already to special summon it, which means you will have a free add. And also you have one more use of Gaydog, where you can just use him to dump the Buster Dragon or just another Remus for later turns as a follow-up, because he can special summon himself during the next turn, meaning drawing Baby Rock, fine, and does not change anything at all. Drawing Sephiroth, probably the greatest thing that can happen to you. I still refuse playing more of him, even though it's so great drawing him, just because it's once per duo and I don't want to play anything that just is useless at some point in the game. So only one Sephiroth, but if you draw him, you can discard him with Dragon Ravine, which means your opponent using Ash is just useless basically. Also, you can search something else with Gaydog because you already drew him, meaning making your Buster Whelp access before summon number 5. So even if you get nipped, you can later just normal summon the Buster Whelp, go into the Protector Whelp and have a Buster Lock either way. Still nice, and just love drawing Sephiroth. Drawing Red Darkness Metal Dragon means if you go into a tomb, you're going to special summon an extender like Destrudo, Tempest, or Arma Gram. If you play those, I would always recommend playing them. And then you're just going to bench their tomb and special summon the Red Darkness. And you just got a free extender, meaning going into Sears is easier, and just turn 3 and 4 will become a lot easier, like you have instant kill access. Drawing Legatus means you have one more add of the Dragon Ravine or one more sending extenders, adding Dragunity cards. Also, you can just get away by getting ashed. Pretty cool for Ogre in the format, which means you can just activate the Dragon Ravine but not use the effect. Special summon Legatus, later use the Dragon Ravine, and Ogre would just negate it, but you will still already have the Legatus established, meaning you can special summon Remus. So pretty cool drawing him. Mistletoe, also nice to draw because he's a free discard. You will discard him for the Dragon Ravine, and later when you activate Glow to get the Mistletoe, you can add from deck or graveyard, meaning the Mistletoe you just discarded will be added back to your hand, and you can just continue playing. Then Glow, if Glow is already hot drawn, that's like probably the worst of these things, but it's also fine because you can just add Dragon Ravine off of Romulus, or just don't go into Romulus. Like if you play one Romulus in the extra deck but 2 Glows in the main, you will have him for later turns adding the second Glow, or just add the Dragon Ravine so you have another discard, or set up for later turns to add Izama or Remus. So pretty cool, pretty nice. And those are your combo pieces, so meaning if you draw any of these, it will get easier, or just it doesn't matter. One of these things, and I think that's great. If you're scared to play into Nibiru and it's not close to time, consider paying 4,000 life points just to get around Nibiru. Like, not saying completely Nibiru proof by just getting the exact same endboard, but by playing around him to get the Buster Lock early before 5 summons. And just consider if 4,000 life points are worth it. And I would say yes, they are. And I'm going to show you what to do if you're able to play this Drudo in your deck. So, we're at the basic start. We're going into the Gaydog. Activate its effect to add the Buster Whelp and discarding another card, in this case Remus, meaning you will normal summon now, but you will lose the level 1 tuner later in the combo to go into your Dark Ruler and Droplet Negate. And I would say the most important thing in the deck is having a Dark Ruler and Droplet Negate. Like, it's fine ending on Savage, but just being able to negate Droplet makes your win rate so much higher. So we're adding the Buster Whelp, normal summoning it, getting the Prologue, and now we lost our level 1 tuner later in the basic combo, but we will get him back. Meaning we're going to link 2 into Romulus, getting ourselves Claw, activating Claw, and getting the Mistletoe. Now what we do is sending him away, special summoning the Mistletoe, equipping the Gate Arc, banish Claw, and special summon Gate Arc. Now we use its effect to get the Sephiroth, which was the first target in the basic combo, so you just swap these two, discard him, and now we can use Sephiroth, bounce it back, and use our Dragon Ravine to discard a card and send Destruder from the deck to the graveyard. And now you have your level 1 tuner back, meaning we're going to overlay into a tomb using LP effect, special summoning out the Red as Darkness Metal Dragon, and using its effect to special summon back the Gate Arc. And now you can just go into the Protector Whelp, for example, sending something like the Buster Dragon, and then go into the link 2 of the Heavenly Seals. And now we can just use Gate Arc, not Gate Arc, use Destrudo, pay half our life points, getting him on the field, and now he's a level 1 because we targeted a level 6 monster. And then we can use Gate Arc just to add the Baby Rock, discard the Baby Rock, special summon it, and go into Synchro 8 and later Synchro 9 for Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. And then you will end on pretty much the same board, meaning you will end on a Buster Dragon, Synchro it off, the Abyss, and Trap. Meaning you're at the same point, but more Nibiru proof, not saying like you get this board even though you get Nibiru, but just being able to access the Buster Plater lock. Also because you can use the token and another extender like Tempest, Arma Gram, and all that stuff to go into the Protector Whelp and send the Buster Dragon, and if you have another extender, if you're lucky, go into the Seals. Meaning you will get a good board just for the price of 4,000 life points, and because the board is so good, it will be enough in most scenarios where you just don't care about losing 4,000 life points, because if your opponent can break this board and get 4,000 damage, then they deserve to win basically. But in general, it's a nice way to play around Nibiru. Another little tip for the deck is when you have Seals on the field established and have the Prologue in the graveyard because you went combo, and have Tempest in the graveyard because you either used him as a starter, dumped him off of Dragon Ravine or anything, or just hot drew him and discarded him. Consider, after using Seals, to special summon from deck a Buster Whelp, because you can always defend him with Prologue, meaning your opponent has to spend a lot of resources just getting rid of him, and usually they will not do it, because why would they? It's just a 1-star tuner, and the effort of removing him is not worth it. But during your turn, you can just use Tempest effect to special summon him by banishing 2 wind or dragon monsters. And now the first action in your turn will be a Synchro 8 play, or just the summon of Tempest, meaning you will put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and that means your opponent has to interact with you before you use your Dragon Ravine to get another playstarter like Remus or Gisama, before you special summon Arma Gram and all that stuff, meaning you can go into Savage, Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, or all the good Synchro 8s, and you will put a lot of pressure on your opponent. So Summoning the Buster Whelp off of seals is pretty underrated, but consider it, and you will do it a lot. Same goes for if you have Chaos Ruler in the graveyard, because if you use them in your standard combo as your Synchro 8, you will have the pressure of putting Hot Red Abyss onto the field if you didn't already during your first time in the combo. Meaning you have so much pressure off of this little whelp, which is why I would always recommend running 2, because you can summon him off of seals. Then of course I used him in my last deck profile. Consider playing Sphere Mode and consider playing Lava Golem. Those are insane kaijus. They're a little worse during the Scythe format, which is really bad for you, but you don't need your normal summon. You're playing the Buster Whelp for your normal summon, but you don't need it. You can always go into Prologue, you can discard the Buster Plater and send the memories, discard the memories, send the Buster Plater, which is why you play a Destruction Sword Buster Plater. If you play 2, you can play the other Buster Plater because you just need 1 in case you need to send it. And the other one is better for Dragon matchups, so play 1 and 1. But what I'm trying to say is these cards are insane. They will always help you facilitate your plays going second, and you really don't care if you cannot normal summon, if you can break the board with 1 card and just combo from there. Like, these are insane, and always consider playing them, even during the Scythe format, and you will not have any problems. And if, a big if set 5 pass becomes relevant again, also consider playing Denko Sekka, okay, like her, and you will have a pretty easy time because your opponent will side for the Buster Blader because that's your main strategy, and just going into Denko Sekka, Lava Golem or Sphere Mode will get them off guard. If they're a really good player, they will notice you will normal summon at the end of your play, so they can get an idea of it, but will not happen that often. And even if they do, nobody wants to commit less to the field just because of the fear of a Sphere Mode, you know? So consider playing them in the side deck. They're insane. And if you play Small World, you already have a bridge for him by using Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon as the bridge, lowering your combo ceiling, but you get to break the board for free, so why not doing it? And for Lava Golem, you just put something in the deck like a Wind Kaiju, any level 8. Maybe if you play Goliath as a seals target, like for when your board is broken, you can get another extra deck log, which I don't like, but you can do. Then you already have the Small World bridge. It's pretty easy, so if you play Small World, these become even better. Next thing is playing Arma Gram, because I absolutely love him. He's removing Winder pretty easily. Also, he's a Dragon Ruler, and if he's your first action during turn 3 and turn 4 and all that other turns, he's putting so much pressure on the board because he has an ignition effect where he can negate 1 monster on the field permanently, and your opponent will have to interact with you. Meaning, if your opponent plays Winder because he's playing Invoke Dogmatic or Shadow, which is a common deck, and if you don't face it on any tournaments, how do you not face it? I think everyone played against it, and this card single-handedly destroys this deck. Honestly, just if you know your opponent's on that shenanigans, just pressure with Dragon Ravines to get him into the graveyard or into rotation. And if there's a Winder up, you can activate this effect to special summon him. Meaning, if your opponent does not have Mecha Bar, you will get him onto the field, or he has to activate Mecha Bar, which is unfortunate. But for stuff like that, you have Tempest to activate and other cards like Remus, so they don't want you to get into the Dragon Ravine. Meaning, if you see it in practice, you will get your way to summon Arma Gram. Promise. So, if your opponent has Wind Hand, you get to summon Arma Gram, which you will likely get if you're playing around all the stuff, if you're a good player. And now he's on the field, he can permanently negate Winder which is absolutely insane, and making him a great playmaker. And also he can just run into the window. Of course, if there's an Alistair in hand, he will push the window, but you can just pass on from here. Like if you have prologue or anything, you will survive either way, but if not, you will most likely not die because they can only special summon once, meaning they have to either give up their whole field, and if you play cards like Gamma, they're alive now, and if you survive, you can just summon back the Arma Gram, so you will have plays. And he's forcing interruption because of his ignition, so definitely consider playing him. He just makes this matchup so much easier, and in general, he's a free special summon. And if you're playing with Tempest and all that stuff, and Chaos Ruler, you will get like 3 already free special summons with Remus and Crave, Arma Gram, Tempest, maybe Destrudo, maybe Chaos Ruler, maybe Gizama in hand. Like, you will spam the board without any problems. Let's just say your whole full combo board was broken by, I don't know, like Imperm plus Droplet sending 2 cards, and then your opponent established a little board for themselves, and you just top decked that card like a second prologue. You cannot use because you already went into the Buster Blader stuff, and honestly I do not recommend playing another Buster Dragon and another Buster Blader, or just another Buster Blader and another Memories and all that stuff. I do not recommend it, but people can do. And you just used Chaos Ruler to summon the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and after using Seals, you summoned out the Arma Gram, which got destroyed, and because of your combo, you just added another Remus and sent it to the graveyard. Oh, and also, because of your combo, you have Legatus in graveyard. So, just showing what the bare minimum of follow-up could be. Meaning, first of all, you can banish materials to get out the Chaos Ruler, if you want to start with them. Otherwise, you can banish the materials to get out Arma Gram. And if the summon of Arma Gram does not get negated, or is not possible to get negated, you can just use its ignition effect and negate anything on the field, like any monster. And then you will have a lot more room for plays, meaning you can summon the Chaos Ruler. You can summon the Remus because you control Arma Gram, and do plays from here, like go into Synchro 10 if you play one, like Escalon and that stuff, and Escalon is pretty busted. Pretty busted. It's possible. Or just go into another Romulus, go into anything you desire. Then you can, for example, activate Dragunity, discard any dead card, and add Gizama if you play him. He's the best follow-up. Why wouldn't you play him? He's insane in the deck. And just normal summon the Gizama, get out the Legatus, and not saying all of this gets through because your opponent will establish something, but just seeing that, meaning you have so much follow-up, you can play through things. You're able to go into Power Sword, go into Synchro 7 like Cyber's Quantum Dragon, which is busted, going into Black Rose, going to Moonlight, going into Synchro 10 as mentioned, going into Escalon as probably one of the most busted cards ever. If you play him, I chose to not play him because I have other follow-up, but I definitely think Escalon is busted because he's not once per turn banish, depending on how many Dragunities you get in the grave, but already have 2 at minimum, Mistletoe, Get Out, and that stuff. So you can go into Arid Beer, which is also busted as fuck. He's a Duster and a Negate. So you have so much follow-up because of your basic combo, and the fact that Dragon Ravine is a Gizama top deck guaranteed, no matter what you draw. Like, the fact I love about this deck is you can have any shitty top deck and turn it into something great. Also, if you didn't use Armor Rush, for example, and you out of this armor, you can just add Remus, special summon the Arma Gram, normal summon Remus, link him off to get into Armor Rush, and then use Remus to special summon him back. Which means any top deck can turn into 2 monsters. And from now you can just go into Romulus and just keep playing anything else. Like, it's insane. I absolutely love this deck. I'm not coping. Just consider how busted this follow-up is, and consider many decks not having a backbone currently. It's great. Also, if you side Lava Golem and just top deck it later in the game and you can use it, you have enough cards to summon. Like, you can special summon Lava Golem in defense, special summon Arma Gram, so you can get over him. It's so cool. It's so cool. And as the last tip for this video, maybe I will do another with some more tips, but as the last tip is playing Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. I cannot stress enough to play him, and it's kind of disgusting why, and I also hate it because I don't like the time rules, but if you want to play competitive, you have to take advantage of everything you can have, okay? But I'm not saying stall for time, because that sucks, but keep in mind time is a thing and you can win in time. And he's a level 8 with the effect of just blowing up the field, so every effect monster with 3000 or less, meaning your own cards as well, and inflict damage to your opponent 500 for each. And as mentioned, stalling for time, disgusting, don't do that. And just going into time in general sucks, but you need to have a way to deal with it. Meaning, think about playing game 1, you're going first, you're winning, okay? You're losing game 2 and time gets rough, like you just have, don't know, 3 minutes left on the clock or anything, and you're playing a big combo deck. You're capable of comboing off, meaning just avoid going to Sephiroth, play through it, go into Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. Maybe if you play a second Baby Rock, it gets easier, but in general, you have Tempest, you have Arma Gram as extenders. You can just play through everything and then go into a Synchro 8 either with Tempest and one of the Buster cards, or just the Buster Blader and the Buster card, or Gaydog into Miss Valley Baby Rock. There are so many ways of doing it, and then you can burn your opponent for time, which means you will win. Or if you play against a control deck and you feel like you want to grind out game 1 because they won the die roll, but you want to just keep trying to push through, and then in game 2, because you don't have that much time, you're burning them, and later in the game you win, you get the draw. And from a competitive view, it is great. In general, it's disgusting. So just avoid to stall. Avoid it, but keep in mind it is a thing, and you don't want to get draws because of time. If you're able to win in time, just do it. Apologize to your opponent because you want to be a nice player. Just try to keep it nice, because I like the community being nice. And also, he's pretty great for going second and activating Gamma and just going to Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend to put up more pressure on your opponent because of a Dark Hole effect. Like, you're negating something with Gamma, go into Scarlet, and you force out another interaction. So keep in mind playing him, he's insane, but always remember, be nice. That's it for the core video of what you need, what you cannot cut, what you can do, and just little things you need to know. Of course, there are many more, like during the matches you will just learn little things you need to tweak during your combo, things you need to change up, learning how busted Gamma is as a hand trap in the deck and Throne Lockbird. So there are so many things you can learn, but I hope it gives you a basic understanding of what the deck does, why it's so awesome, and why you should consider playing it. and maybe someday it's a meta thread. I don't know, maybe someday I'll make it possible, or maybe one of you guys make it possible. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe leave a like, maybe leave a sub, because I will upload like feature matches if we have proper master duel like TCG stuff, or maybe just local camera setup and some remote duels or anything. Just I hope you enjoy the deck as much as I do, and I really love this deck. This is why I'm bringing it to you and where I'm trying to show it to the masses, so people get the idea of how this deck can be a meta thread. Okay, so hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys around for another deck profile once Scythe spanned, or if you don't know my previous deck profiles, maybe check them out. Kindly appreciate it.